Barton branded Dr. Opiate over excessive morphine prescriptions behind up to 650 deaths, moaned about her suffering in a note to staff after a party to celebrate her retirement. In a handwritten card she wrote, "It was a great chance to thank you all for what you'd have done, especially the miseries of the last few years." Dr. Barton, 69, spent 12 years at Gosport War Memorial Hospital, Hants, where a report last month ruled there had been a disregard for human life in the care of hundreds of elderly patients. She retired in 2010, tendering her resignation ahead of a General Medical Council ruling on her conduct. Referring to herself and husband Tim, her note told colleagues, "We shan't forget you and the humor of the job." And in a bizarre quip, she added, "Watch out for me in a nurse's kit using a hammer and chisel. Help." She also made a joke about chocolate biscuits to colleagues at Fortin Medical Practice. She was a part-time clinical assistant at the Gosport Hospital from 1989 until 2000 and was responsible for all prescriptions on the affected wards. An inquest in 2009, the year before she left, looked into 10 deaths at the hospital. It found drugs had been given in a manner that had contributed more than minimally to 5 of those deaths. 2 months before her retirement, Dr. Barton was found guilty by the GMC of multiple instances of serious professional misconduct. They ruled she had prescribed potentially hazardous levels of drugs. The panel did not strike her off, but imposed 11 restrictions, including banning her from prescribing opiates by injection for 3 years. She handed her resignation to partners at Fortin ahead of the GMC ruling in January 2010. Dr. Barton's thank you note was among more than 43,000 documents released by the Gosport Independent Panel following publication of their report into deaths at the hospital. The 4-year probe found 456 elderly patients had their lives shortened by overdoses prescribed by Dr. Barton. It is likely another 200 patients whose medical records are missing suffered the same fate, the panel concluded. Yet in another note to colleagues, Dr. Barton dismisses the probe, thanking colleagues for all your support and kindness throughout the investigations and the associated hassle. And in a document dated shortly after the 2009 inquest, she complains about a lack of victim support officers to care for her. In an email to a solicitor, after murdering bitch slag was daubed on her wall, she wrote, "Tim has spoken to the police. There is nobody from victim support available until Tuesday." Meanwhile, the power washer comes out. The documents also tell how Dr. Barton was identified as early as 2001 as a primary care practitioner whose performance is giving cause for concern. But in a backlash against the criticism, she warns of a witch hunt following the jailing of Dr. Harold Shipman, given life a year earlier for the murder of 15 patients and suspected of killing 250. She told her NHS trust, "This post-Shipman culture with the associated ritual humiliation leaves the medical profession unacceptably vulnerable." She went on to check they would still pay her to chair her primary care group. Pauline Williamson, 63, whose husband's parents died 17 days apart at Gosport, said she didn't want to suffer financially and expects counseling for graffiti on a wall, but does not feel it's necessary for the bereaved families.